Wow, that is going live. But I do a lot of book reviews on this channel, and one of the ones that I probably do the most about is Reverend Ike's Study Guide. I started with Reverend Ike again. Why most days the technology. Well, I started with Reverend Ike back in I think it was like the early 2000s. My mother used to be a student of Reverend Ike and also sung in his choir. And she would take me to his church when we lived in New York. It was in Harlem. And I didn't at the time get it at all. I didn't understand a thing that man was talking about. But that church was filled with all these magnificent people of color who looked fantastic. And I remember Reverend Knight coming on stage once, and I think it was like a blue Rolls Royce or something. And he had on like blue and a cane, and like there was like a red chair for him. Oh, I didn't get it at the time. It was spectacular, by the way. But I didn't get it at the time that it was my mind that was producing, if you will, manifesting my life. And I was a hot mess. Let me put it that way. But anyway, years later, my mother, got older, and I went to visit her, and I was just, cleaning up her house and stuff, and I came across a Reverend Ike's, I think it was like it's a newsletter, like a magazine, and I asked mommy, could I have it? She said, yeah, and it was kind of worn, kind of pages were kind of brittle, kind of brown, and I read that magazine backwards and forwards, and in it, my mother had notes written on the side and all around it. And I was reading her notes, and I was like, oh, I wonder if he's still alive. And I went to the church, but he had long gone, of course. And the lady says I could go in and look around because I was telling them, I have memories of coming here when I was younger with my mother. And as I was leaving, they said, we over there, and they was pointing to like a glass case. She said we had books and tapes and CDs. And so I went and I looked, and this one CD, I swear, this one CD went like this out of the bookcase and just looked at me. And it was Get Your Butt, BUT, out of the way. And I brought that CD. And I listened to that CD for, for like a year. And I think it was in the 1990s because that's when we had the Discman and you could put the CD in the disc and, you had the headphones. And I would listen to going to work. I would listen at lunchtime. I would listen to coming home, back home on the train from work. I would listen to yeah, it was the 1990s because I remember I had a white Apple laptop that had that little slot you could slide the CD in. So I just listened to it over and over and over again. And that's what happened. My mind started to change. And then I started to get an idea like, I really don't want to work anymore. And that started like a thread in motion where I ended up retiring early with a big penalty in, my pension, but I didn't care because I had the mindset then. And I no longer wanted to live uh, with people that were throwing garbage out the window, and I had drug dealers in the building and people blasting music. I'm like, people gotta work, like my whole mind just changed about everything. And I stopped, like Reverend Ike says in the book. This is actually all his lessons, not all of them, but like a few of his lessons just written out. And he says, "You're not stuck in your current circumstances. That God wants you to have luxuries." And I mean, like that was just going through my mind. And it took me a few years. It took me a few years to pay off my debt because I was in debt, so I had to get a money consciousness. But I have to tell you, this book, Reverend Ike's Study Guide, the first, I think it's the first, yeah, the first page, he has prayers for you that you can use right away. And the book is filled with affirmations. Oh my goodness. I read this like a book. Like every day I read it. You can read it weekly. He has it set up that every week you can read something like you are what you feed your mind. They can't take that away from you. The prosperity path, lovers and winners, spiritual independence, power of command, the mental equivalent. God has given you winning power. I mean, you have it, the truth about you. Now's the time. You reap what you sow. Stop the world. I want to get off for the whole year. You just read it a week and you study that principle and you put that principle into practice. You could do it by yourself, you could do it with someone else. I read by myself, but I just keep going. Just keep going over and over because I learned from Reverend Knight, you learn how the negatives, so you have to keep studying daily to erase all that and get back to the truth about yourself, who and what you truly are. So this is probably, like I was saying, the main book I always review and talk about. But I got a lot more, and I'll probably tell you more about that tomorrow. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for being here on my channel. And get the book. Listen, this is my second book. The first book, I have so much stuff written in it and marked up. Pages started falling out. So I had to get the second book, and I got the ebook. I got the ebook so when I travel, I can always stay in contact, I call it, with the Reverend Ike study. So I suggest you do get the book, get the ebook, study the lessons. Maybe you want to get a group or a friend. And one thing I will tell you is that with Reverend Ike's lessons, you really, let me put it this way. He suggests you don't go around telling people about this teaching. It's better if you show them because you will change. And then people go, what's up with you? And then they want to know, how did you change? How did you move? How do you leave your job? How did you start a business? How do you release weight? It's all here in Reverend Ike's Study Guide. Have a great day, everybody. You deserve it. See you tomorrow.